Hi there, so this is going to be an Obalon review, but it's not just a review, it's going to be kind of a progress track and kind of just insight onto the whole journey. So I got Obalon on I had my first balloon placed on March 10th. But before I jump into that, let me just kind of give you some insight as to why I chose that. So I've struggled with weight my entire life. I probably was at my lowest when I was in high school, and that was my freshman year. Right now I'm 29, and I've just been struggling with weight ever since I had my daughter. I have 3 kids. With each kid, after I had them, I gained about 10 pounds, but after I had my daughter, it was just really hard to lose weight, and I just gained a ton, and I didn't know what was wrong. I went to all my doctor's appointments, and I made sure that it wasn't like a thyroid issue. I made sure that it wasn't like a hormone issue. I've done several different programs, anywhere from like Metabolic Research Center to the one where they have your meals delivered to you, and it's not meals, it's like meal replacements. So you have your shakes and whatnot, and I've done that, and I've tried like a couple other different programs, and yes, I have lost weight with those, but then once they're over, I end up gaining more than I end up gaining more weight, and I ended up being heavier than where I started when I started each one of those programs. So for me, weight loss was it's just been really horrible, and it's really frustrating. I really got frustrated with it, and I was at a point where I thought, maybe I need to do something drastic. And so I went to a consultation for the Obalon balloon. It was actually with like a bariatric surgeon, and she told me that because of my BMI, I do not qualify for weight loss surgery. So there were some other options. Obalon was one of them. An intergastric sleeve was another option. There was another one, I think aspiration therapy is what it was called, was another option. Each one of those had their own like side effects, and things that could go wrong. And so Obalon kind of seemed like the safest, and it seemed like it could possibly help me to get to a point where I needed to be, because at that point I was good with my diet. I was on like a 6-week eating plan through our gym, and I had been exercising like 5 days a week, but for some reason like my body just would not shed the fat, and the scale wasn't moving. So it was pretty frustrating for me to go through like all of that, making all these life changes and not seeing any results. So I did go with Obalon just because it seemed to have like the least downtime, because I do work full-time. I have 3 kids. Like, I don't have time to be down. I do have a husband that helps and a mom that helps, but I definitely don't like to not be helping out in any way. So I did choose Obalon. I had to get the barium esophagram done to make sure that I do qualify. They just need to check that your stomach can handle it, so that you don't have any like holes in your stomach, that you don't have anything that could complicate, or that would complicate having the balloons placed. So I went through that. It was a pretty quick process because I did want to participate in the trials to earn some money back. That way the cost wouldn't be that high, because it is a $7,000, almost $8,000 procedure. And so with the studies, you get, I believe, $2,400. So because of that, I was the last person to enter, and I needed to have the balloon placed by a certain date. And that was like a couple weeks away. So I had to have my barium esophagram, had to go in for a study trial. It was a gastric emptying trial. And then you had to do 2 other procedures, like a blood test, and then also something where you had to like blow in a bag or something. So I had to have those done, and it was like back to back to back. Then I got my first balloon in on March 10th. With the first balloon, you had to fast, I believe after midnight. So I ate dinner, and then, which was like at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then I didn't eat all the way until after I got the gastric balloon placed. And so I got the balloon placed at like 12 o'clock. It felt okay. I didn't feel horrible. I was really okay. And we were driving on the way home because my lovely husband goes in with me to every procedure because he knows I have anxiety, and he just wants to help lessen that as much as he can. So anyways, I went in, had the balloon placed. For the first 24 hours, you're supposed to be on a liquid diet. So I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. I did have some like vitamin waters that were the low calorie ones. And after I had the balloon placed, like, we were on our way home and I felt my stomach cramping. So that was kind of uncomfortable, but it wasn't unbearable. I did pick up my medication. So there were 3 medications in all. One was for acid reflux, one's for stomach cramping, and one's for nausea. So we did pick those up from Walgreens. I took the one for stomach cramping just because my stomach was starting to cramp. And it was becoming kind of uncomfortable, so I took that. And my husband went and got some soup and some pozole, of course, but I didn't eat any of the meat or the hominy. I just drank the broth, which was so delicious. And so then I laid down, kind of just took it easy. I worked from home that day. And that day was pretty okay. I think by the nighttime, I was able to eat regular food, so I ate some soft food, and I held it down pretty good. My stomach was okay. Like, I didn't feel super full, which I thought I would. I didn't feel nauseous, and so I went to bed, and early in the morning, the next morning, I believe, is when I started feeling like really nauseous. So I stood up, I took some deep breaths, and that seemed to help the nausea. I did take the nausea medication, and then I did also take the stomach cramping because when I laid down, my stomach did cramp more, so it was uncomfortable, and I just took that. And of course, you're supposed to take the acid reflux medication every day for the whole time that you're on it, no matter if you're having acid reflux or not. It's just to prevent your stomach from getting like ulcers in it, because your stomach is producing more acid to try and deflate, or to try and break down all of the stuff that's in your stomach because it thinks it's food or whatever. So first balloon was placed. We went 2 weeks, and then I had my second balloon, and in the midst of that, we're going through all of this COVID-19 stuff. So that second procedure was kind of crazy because it was an optional procedure. My doctor told me that I could either start over, or I could leave those in there and start over after all of this COVID stuff passes, or I could continue with the procedure because it had already been approved. So I don't want to go under to get the balloons removed twice. So I decided to continue, and that was a hard decision to make because, I don't know, I just felt like, I felt selfish for making it, one, because I was like, what if they run out of medical equipment and they're using this for like a non-necessary procedure, you know? But at the same time, I felt like I don't want to have to go through this whole process again. So I did make the decision to have the second balloon placed, and everybody was wearing their, protective equipment. And so I went in, had the second balloon placed. I did feel a little bit fuller after the second balloon was placed, so that was on March 24th. And that actually ended up being a crazy day, because that day, throughout between my first procedure and my second procedure, there had been like some family stuff going on, and that day, that afternoon, my grandfather passed away. So before that, I was spending like a lot of time with him at his facility, and so I wasn't eating a lot. So between my first and second balloon, I think I lost like 2 pounds. So 2 pounds, 2 weeks, it's like an average of 1 pound a week, which was okay. But then it was also, I feel like, because I wasn't eating as much, because I was staying in the hospital, and are not hospital, but like the care facility, and I don't like eating food from care facilities, and I didn't want to eat out a lot, and so I felt like that was the whole thing there. So after my second balloon was placed, going through like all the stuff with my grandpa and the COVID stuff, it was just kind of hectic, and I didn't eat as well. So I still only have 2 balloons. Today is April 6th, and I don't think I've lost any weight, which is kind of frustrating, to be honest. It's just like, I'm worried that this isn't going to work as well, and it's a little hectic. So I'm going to keep you guys updated. I'm supposed to have the 3rd balloon placed at the end of the month, if not early next month. So we'll see with all of this COVID stuff going on, but stay tuned. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.